Warning: the following video may have language that some viewers may find offensive, and others are already offended. Viewer discretion is advised, but not really. No animals were hurt in the making of this 4-hour feature film.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining me here on the Full Monty video podcast we shoot right here in St. Thomas, Ontario. And today, we got a pretty special guest sitting over here in the so-called hot seat. He's pretty well known to everybody in this community. If you don't know him, I don't know where you've been. He's a pretty hot celebrity. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about this fella's, where he grew up, a little bit about what his business is today, and his time in the provincial parliament, if that gives you a little clue on maybe who it is. So we want to welcome to our studio here, Mr. Jeff Yurek.
Morning.
Hey, thanks for coming, Jeff.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate it. This is one I've been waiting for a while to do.
Get me in the hot seat.
I did, yes. I wanted to get you in here. We've had Joe and Jeff and Rose, counselors. I'm still trying to get Karen. I think she's scared.
Yeah.
Karen is scared of me.
I can see that. She's scared of so many people.
Is she?
No.
Yeah. Mike was awesome when we had Mike in here. So anyway, let's start off, Jeff. Mm-hmm. So we do everybody this way. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
I'm pretty simple. I was born at the St. Thomas-Elgin General Hospital and grew up on Rhonda Court, which is by Elm and Fairview.
Yeah.
Parents owned the house till they passed away a few years ago. It's over 50 years they owned the house. I was there for 30 some odd years there at least before I graduated university and got married and moved out. So grew up around Mary Buck School that used to be there. Everybody would know that. Played in the field behind Mary Buck School, played on the street with my friends, and went to St. Gabriel's School, which was down on Parish Street, which is no more. Went to St. Raphael's School, which is no more, which is now St. Anne's. Yeah. And went to high school at Central Elgin. Okay. So I'm just the St. Thomas guy.
All right. So St. Thomas bred, born, and everything right here. So growing up as a teenager, what kind of trouble did you get into? Now, it's only you and me, so come on. You can be honest here.
I'll break it down to you.
I'm going to have a coffee while you talk about this.
I stayed out of trouble. I was, I'm sorry. I disappoint you.
Sorry, that was hot coffee. Yeah. I didn't mean to laugh.
I disappoint you in the fact that I participated in school events. I played on sports teams, hung out with friends in the neighborhood. Okay. I pretty much stayed out of trouble. You need my brother Joe here if you want the stories of people getting into trouble. That's the troublemaker in my family. Okay. There's 6 of us in the family, and Joe was the special one, we call him. Okay. Cool. But no, I just did a basic thing. I played sports, hung out with friends, and ended up working.
What sports do you play?
Growing up, it was hockey and soccer, and then in high school, I played basketball.
Oh, did you? You didn't get into football?
No, my mom saw I was a little tiny and thought I'd get broken in half, so she said, you can't do that, and I, of course, listened. So.
Poor mom. Yeah, I know.
And Voden was around, and Voden beat everybody all the time, and they were so big.
Well, they're the Vikings, right?
The Vikings, yeah. So it was probably a good move.
I always wanted to play hockey. I loved hockey. We did a lot of road hockey.
Yeah.
I can't skate. No, I never could. But I'd skate, my ankles would go in. Like I'd turn, and I never could. I could go fast, but I could never. The only way I stopped was slam the boards at the end. That's the only way I could ever stop, right?
There always was space for those type of players too.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Well, I was with those special people. That would be me there. So, so growing up, then, so you're getting through high school. What was your first job?
Well, I've been at the pharmacy since forever. So that would be official job was pharmacy.
Was it?
Stock boy. Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever do papers?
No.
You never? Wow. No, you're the first one now that's.
Yeah. No, my neighbor did papers, and I'd help him once in a while, and I thought, no, I don't want to do this, especially when it rained and snowed. So, no.
Well, I heard you do have kind of an in with the family of the pharmacy.
Yeah. So it wasn't too hard to get the job, but the labor laws, well, you don't have to worry about that. I worked quite a bit, worked hard. I enjoyed every minute of it. In fact, my dad used to take me up. That's why I got my taste of pharmacy. Is when I was 7 or 8. We were closed Sundays, but that's when he did inventory. So he'd have me come up, and I would work for a chocolate bar, and I'd do any odd jobs he wanted while he was getting the orders ready. So I did that forever. I remember in
How old?
8 when I started.
8.
And the best memory I have of that is in 1984, I would have been 13. Just before getting into high school and getting an official job, I'd go up on Sundays and we listened to every single Detroit Tiger baseball game. And that's the year they swept and won the World Series. That was amazing time. So I listened to the whole season just on the Sundays listening to the games. So, but it was great. It was a great time to get to hang out with my dad and figure out the little pharmacy stuff.
That is cool. You know, I do remember years ago, even growing up, my mom used to listen to the old-time theaters.
Okay.
And I remember at night laying in my bed and I could hear her radio and it used to freak me right out, that music, that old, you know, the old stuff. I mean, we'll go back in the early 70s.
Yeah.
But it was big. And
yeah.
I know at one point in the farm when I used to seed our flowers and stuff in January and February, whatever, I used to have in the basement this was a grow up back then, I guess, but not the kind that you think of today. And I used to listen to hockey games, and radio was cool. I don't think a lot of people today even they would know it, like listening to the young kids today, radio games and
especially AM radio with
AM
crackling going on.
Yeah. We used it all the time to judge how bad a thunderstorm was going to be.
Yeah.
By the lightning, right?
True.
The cracks coming through, and then you get, this is going to be a big storm. That's how we did it on the farm.
Yeah.
Listen to it. So
it was good times.
That's cool. So let's talk about the pharmacy. So what year did it start?
Started in 63.
Wow.
Way before I was around.
Yeah.
And they built it up over the years.
Same location?
Same location. Originally, we were half the size. There was a Royal Trust was beside us.
Beside you?
And then after my dad retired, my brother and I took over the store, and we purchased the building beside and knocked the wall down, and that's the size.
So was that where, like your first aid stuff and bandages on that west wall, was that the bank, or was it where the pharmacy
Where
is?
the pharmacy is, yeah.
That was the bank?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And my dad's original designs changed when the original building, 519, the dispensary where you get the drugs was at the front of the store at one part. So he had rearranged it numerous times as it grew, and we ran out of room, so we expanded over, and it's filled up again, so we enjoy it.
Of course, I get my medications, everything through the pharmacy there, but I see how busy it is now.
Yeah,
like it's almost like you guys are pressing for space again. Like you're growing out of what you have.
It's full, and thank you to everybody that comes and support us. We try to work hard to meet everybody's needs, but staff-wise is getting everybody in place.
Well, you've gone above and beyond for me personally before, like being diabetic, and I've been open about that, and I said I'm going to have Steve coming on soon. I want to do a whole diabetic talk. We're going to talk about all the insulins and the Ozempic and all that stuff that I've been on and reactions that I've seen and had, and diabetic dermatitis and all kinds of things that people don't really associate. I want to get into things on depression and mood swings with diabetics, because I can be absolutely having a fantastic day, and for no reason, just it's been the most horrific day. It's just so funny and then I'll test, like even my other half will say, have you tested your sugars? How's your blood? And I'll test, and it'll be, sometimes the machine will just say high. So I know I'm over 22. And then mostly I used to run for years, 28, 30s. That's where I always was. So it's been coming down. And then since the surgery and the teeth removal, that has a lot to do with sugars and stuff too. So anyway, Steve's going to come in. We're going to talk about that.
He'd be perfect for that.
Yeah. So, but what do you see an increase? Like when people are coming in, without getting into specifics on anyone, but what kind of illness seems to be on the increase that you see a little more of than you know? Is it diabetes?
Yeah. Diabetes has always been on the growth.
Yeah.
And you can look at cardiovascular, blood pressure, lipids, but the tests are getting more specific, and the guidelines keep changing, so they're treating people sooner than they would have previously. So I think that's part of the uptick of diseases coming in. But diabetes is number one across the board.
That's still.
I mean, we we don't have the healthiest diet here in North America,
No.
right? And we're very
Yeah.
sedentary people. So
Yep.
it all compounds. Genetics plays a role in some of it as well. So I'm not shocked it'd be metabolic diseases that would be on the increase.
I have said for a long time, and I don't know if it's true. I believe it's true because growing up on the farm and we always dealt with. I had pigs. My neighbor had the cows, and we used to swap meat back and forwards and stuff. But chemicals in our foods in the grocery stores, like the mass producers of the meat. I've often said, I wonder, due to cancers and increases and things like that, like how much is really not even the junk food we eat, but just regular meats, how much are infected with chemicals and preservatives and the other foods that we eat, same thing, like it's got to affect us.
Yeah, processed foods are terrible for us with all the nitrates and all that they're throwing in it. Thankfully we do in Canada have some pretty good laws with regards to our steroid use or antibiotic use in our chickens and pork, our beef, and that it's banned and all that. So that's good.
Yeah.
Compared, I mean, the Americans down south, I'd prefer to eat Canadian beef and pork and chicken than American any day. But overall, in general, I mean, the processed foods are getting us. The pre-made foods that people are buying is chock full of stuff that we probably shouldn't be. Moderation is the key in any diet, and unfortunately, we don't do moderation too well.
You've seen the videos. A lot of us have that person that had that McDonald's burger and fries, and it sat on the shelf for a year. And they open up, it looked a little wilted, not by much, but no mold, nothing on it. I'm like, really? Like, I don't know. I've seen a couple different ones. So is it actually true? I don't know.
You don't know with that, but I mean, having McDonald's, once in a while is probably fine.
So
but
good?
if you have it every day,
Yeah. Why is it so good?
Well, there you go, right? You put stuff in there that makes it tasty.
But somebody else said I read what do you call it? It was not a documentary on it, but they did a study. But after you eat it, the down that you get, like it makes you feel so good, and then afterwards you crave more.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, is that the chemicals that are doing that? Is it the taste?
Sugar's pretty bad, right? Sugar's put in everything, and it's probably the worst thing.
What is some of your earliest memories then with the pharmacy and your dad? Like as a little kid, I know you said 8 years old you were actually working there, but helping out.
Yeah, I think that is it. And sitting there on Sundays and seeing people walk up and knock on the door, knowing we're closed, and going, I know you're closed, but I need that. So, and Dad always just opened the door and happily filling their prescription and sending them on their way.
Wow.
Or people calling, and after we've closed, it's like 10 o'clock at night, and they're calling my dad saying, I forgot to get this, and he'd drive back up to the store and get it done. So I saw that with my dad, how he, focused on people in general.
So community was big to him, right?
Oh, yeah, very much so, yeah. He involved himself. Knights of Columbus was his big. Then he joined when he was 18. And he passed when he was 91. So at the time of his passing, he was, I think, the oldest member at the time at the club, the longest
and
serving
still in it.
Member. Yeah, he never gave up. He ran the elimination draw for them for decades.
Okay.
And he did that, and he gave back quite a bit. And in the community, he was always giving stuff out to people. If you came in the store and you couldn't pay your meds back then, he'd make sure you got what you needed.
Wow.
And he always let people run charge accounts if they're running short.
I remember those. Yeah.
So I mean,
charge accounts. Yeah.
He ran a pretty tight ship, but he also gave a lot back than he could have kept himself. Which
I asked somebody one other time. I can't remember who it was now, but how important for you is giving back to the community?
It's very important. I would say I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's something, as I watched my dad do it, my mom was the same. Like at home is always giving something to someone.
Okay.
I think it's in our family. A lot of people I think are like that, but I really enjoy it. I don't think twice about giving back, either in my time or with
I find
money.
it sad today's world because there's so many with a handout compared to what we used to have. So you could really do a lot for people years ago, where now it's like you have to pick and choose. Like, who am I going to help?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for people to help and support.
Yeah.
I'm thankful You go around the different organizations, and there's usually a core group of people that are involved in almost everything. I just got a check from the Lioness Club in Port Stanley for the MRI. Port Stanley's just an amazing little community with the group of volunteers they have and how much they always give, not only to Port Stanley, but to the county in general. Yeah. So, I mean, we have that all over Belmont, Dutton, and West Lorne, and Elmer, and down in Port Burwell. They all have these core groups that can give, and I think that's what makes rural Ontario survive so much.
I'm from Mitchell, grew up in Stratford, lived in Exeter for a little while, lived in Grand Bend for like 28 years, Lambton County. I knew a lot of council people and everything back then, but Elgin this area is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been here almost 20 years now, and I love it here. I mean, the all of the communities around, though, they all seem to support each other.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, don't matter if you're Malahide or Yarmouth or wherever you are, it's everybody kind of helps everybody. All the social clubs, service clubs, legions. You know, if we needed something, Port Stanley's always there, or vice versa.
Yeah, no, it's great community.
It is. It really is. Out of all the different areas. So, what then made you want to run as an MPP? Now, I think I saw a story about somebody that was doing it prior that came to you and said, "Hey, I want you to do it." When they stepped down.
No,
Was that? No,
that wasn't me. Nope.
That wasn't you.
Nope.
Okay.
No, I've always been interested in politics, and in fact, I was thinking, what route do I take in university? And my mom said to me, she goes, "Go get a degree that you can work with for your whole life. Politics isn't guaranteed." So I said, well, maybe pharmacy. And me going down the pharmacy chain. She says, once you get that, then look at politics. So my plan originally was to work till I was 55, 56, and then get into the political world. And instead, an opportunity. Steve Peters retired, and he'd been the member for a long, long time.
Yes.
Did a great job for our community, and that was an opportunity. And a gentleman named Mike Maneri, people may know him, may not know him, but he came in and said, why don't you run? And I thought, I'll ask my wife. And Jen thought, you'd never win the nomination, go for it. And lo and behold, the community came behind me, ran a good campaign, got the nomination, and I thought, opportunity to make this place a better place.
Jen was waiting to say, I told you.
Jen was waiting to say you could wait another 15, 20 years before you run, right? But it was really, really neat. And, you know, at the time we had a long time Liberal government in, and my daughter was, 6, I think, at the time. And I thought, well, what's their future going to look like? What can I do to help shape it? And I got involved. Yeah. And luckily, I won the nomination.
How did you do it? Like, I mean, once so the process, you ran for nomination, you got nominated, then you get elected.
Yeah.
So I already knew the people behind you, that you're a well-known person. So that didn't surprise me when you actually did get the election happened and you won. But how the hell did you do that? The scheduling. Like, it's just, I told Karen and Mike before, like, you guys, the family has to be so amazing.
Yeah.
For the support, because you're not home, and when you are home, you're not home.
Yeah,
Now you're out doing all the other functions. And
my wife and daughter were amazing. They tried to participate in everything I did, and that's how you stay together, because you're away so much. Even at weekends are chock full. And my daughter more so would come to any and all events that had sweets served at it, so she could go and eat the cookies and chocolate. But she still came, and she got a great education.
Yeah.
I guess the one thing that really set me straight is when I first got elected, there's so many events and weekends, and then there's one weekend I was heading back to Toronto, and I thought, I only spent 5 minutes with my daughter this whole weekend. And I said, enough of that.
Wow.
So made sure, like, that was maybe 3 or 4 weeks into being an MPP. I said, enough. Sundays, one event, maybe a day. Make sure on Saturdays I see her for a bit, just so I could be there with them.
Absolutely.
And then whenever I could, scoot home. It's only Toronto's 2 hours away. I mean, she'd participate in the Rotary Music Festival, usually late in the afternoon. So it'd be one of my days I wasn't sitting in the legislature, hop in the car and drive home and see her, then hop in the car and come back. Just doing those types of things. Wherever I could to be with them, I would be. And that would make up for the fact that I wasn't there as much as possible. And their support, you know, we worked it out. It's a team effort. Okay. Any politician that gets into this thinking they're going to live a separate life than their family, that's not going to work out well for them in the end.
Wow. So Andrew came on board with you, and was driving. So what was Andrew's title?
He had lots.
He had lots?
Yeah, so Andrew Buttigieg, after 2018, he came on board as my legislative assistant to start, and my driver, because I was a minister at the time, and you're allowed to have a driver. And that really saved me driving between St. Thomas and Toronto.
Yeah, I was going to say, so before that, you were doing all the driving.
It was a lot, and trying to do phone calls and drive, he made it so much better. And then he got into my comms team, and kind of was the contact with all the media in my ministry. And still, I kept him as a driver because he lived in St. Thomas, and it's nice to have someone come home with on the weekends and stuff. And
True.
so he did a great job, and I had a great team in St. Thomas that made me be able to do what I could in Toronto.
So Andrew was kind of the guy then that with Rob Flack, when we did the extinguishers for Cindy and we were invited to Queen's Park, and Rob did a reading of what we were doing and everything there. We were in the, what's the lower benches there? The, it's for invited.
Oh, right. The guest
benches, or I forget what it's called now offhand.
Yeah, just off to the side of where the people sit.
Yeah, exactly. So we were sitting in there, and Tanner, I think, was Rob's young guy there. So that's kind of what Andrew would do. Would he take us around the Queen's Park if we wanted a tour?
Yeah, he would have done that at that time. Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, what an amazing building. Do you miss it there? Like the Queen's Park itself?
Yeah, it's a neat building to go to work in.
A lot of history there.
Yeah, and just to walk around, especially when people are gone at night. You can just walk the hallways and see what's up.
You know what I liked though was going down to the cafeteria or the restaurants down there, and where you can actually sit with you guys.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, if the other parliamentarians or whatever are down in there, I could walk up and talk to somebody.
Oh yeah, and they'd all talk to you.
Yeah,
that's the one thing.
Like, I mean, it
doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, or who
like
you
to
support.
see the premier or anybody. Like, I'm not saying when we went down there, he wasn't there. He wasn't actually even in the house that day. But to go there and witness Parliament, and then go and have lunch, and then actually just, you know, you're sitting there. And you're the minister of, you know, well, when you were Parks and, was it Parks and Recreation?
Environment, Environment, Conservation, and Parks.
That's right. Because we did a thing at the Legion one time about the veterans and getting into the provincial parks, yes. But to say I was a veteran or something that was you're in, you know, that announcement happened, I could be at Queen's Park and actually sit down and say, hey, you know, can I have a coffee with you or something?
Yeah.
It's kind of neat.
It is.
A lot of people don't know that.
No.
It was a little tough getting into the building.
Not when I first got in. They didn't have all that when I first
all the
was elected.
Security and all
that?
that?
There was no security. There was no metal detectors.
Yeah.
You just came up to the front doors and signed in.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I remember...
We couldn't even go to the front doors. We had to go through that.
Yeah, well, that was probably COVID stuff and all that.
Yeah, it could have been.
Post-COVID.
Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah.
We, in high school, we did a tour. We had a tour downtown Toronto. And we just walked through the side door. There was no security in the legislature. I remember walking in and going up, and I think Mike Harris's office was up there, and it was something else to see, that you could walk right up to the Premier's office and there's nothing. But nowadays, it's pretty hectic to get through things and get in there. But I mean, you need that safety because
they were very nice.
There's some bad stuff going on out there.
There was my driver's license. I didn't drive that day, so I didn't bring my wallet. And we got in there. We had to show our ID and everything. And that Rob Flack had, invited us down and yada yada. All the guys that I was with, Richard, Cindy's husband, and Brad Gibb from FM 96, and then of course Bob Reed from Bob Noxious, and they all had their ID, and I'm standing there. I couldn't go in, and I'm like, oh my god! Like I was like, oh guys, just go. You know, it's all right. I'll come back another time, right? But anyway, we called up to Tanner. Yeah. And he came down and then talked to the security people and said, no, they're...
Oh, that's good.
And I was able to come in, right?
Yeah.
But the security guys were awesome.
Yeah.
They were
the whole staff there, and I remember first time walking in legislators, just elected us coming to a meeting. They all knew who I was. That's so good. That's a professional. They know all the MPPs even before they've met you. They know you by name.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive operations.
Wow. There's a lot of questions I'd like to ask about things in Parliament, but I'm not. I'll leave it alone because everybody has their own things. So So yeah, so when you ran for MPP, so what?
In the end, I mean, as a pharmacist, you help people. This is just
Yeah.
on a bigger scale. And I think that's why I enjoyed being an MPP so much, because the people that we could help. My focus was here in the riding.
We're gonna go to the big one,
Right?
the big one right now. So MRI, St. Thomas.
Hey, love it.
Yes.
Yep.
So when this all came about, were you the head of the committee? What role did you play? Like, how did this come? I don't know how you're going to answer this one. We all have our own opinions on this, but I'm going to ask you because I've had a lot of people ask me this before. What was the real reason? Like, what was the reason you left the government? Okay, so